Shalom friends, this is Rabbi Kesselman from Chabad of Frisco, and I wanted to share with you a thought from this week's Torah portion. So, what's the difference between necessity and something which is just trash? Like, what's the difference if you feel you absolutely need it and then somehow you don't need it at all and it's fit for the garbage? The answer is about 2 weeks. Often we see something, we feel like we really must get it, we need it, and then within a week or two we realize that we don't really need it and we have nothing to do with it at all. In fact, the society that we live in is obsessed with getting things. We want more things and this kind of thing, I want that thing, this thing, especially in the season that we are in now, with the amount of shopping and the amount of just objects that we are consuming is incredible. It's almost as if we have this hole in our heart, in our soul, that we are trying to fill up with the things that we buy and the things that we consume. And it reminded me of a fascinating Hasidic teaching on the verse from Deuteronomy, which says, Lo al halechem levado yichya ha'adam, which means man does not live on bread alone, but by the word of Hashem. And the Hasidic masters explain something very interesting, that when a person feels like they need to eat, there is something more than just a physical hunger which is taking place. It's your soul that wants the spark of godliness which is found inside the food. So every physical thing has almost like a soul, like has a spark of holiness, and our soul is yearning to free that spark of holiness from the food or from the object that it's in and elevate it and connect it with us and connect it with Hashem. So when a person is feeling this hunger, it's not just his stomach, it's actually his soul that is desiring this thing. And so it comes out that yes, this desire that we have for so much physicality and for objects and to buy more and more, in a way this is our soul asking to connect with the holiness and the godliness which is found in every object and everything, and we want to free it and we want to reconnect it with Hashem and elevate it. And that of course only takes place when we use the physicality appropriately, when the motivation behind it is to use it as a means, as a force to connect to Hashem. Then by doing so we free the sparks of godliness in it and elevate it to Hashem. And this is a lesson that we learn from Jacob in this week's Torah portion. Jacob is finished with Laban and he's a very wealthy man. And the Torah describes to us how Jacob built for himself a house and for his sheep, for his herds, he built Sukkot, he built sheds. In other words, Jacob understood what was the more important and what was the less important. And when it comes to this opportunity for abundance, which we, thank God, have, we take a lesson from Jacob in the motivation behind what we are trying to accomplish with this tremendous abundance that we live in this wonderful time in history. And we make sure that we have the correct motivation behind it, the correct intentions, and by doing so, we obviously only use it for good things and for our service of Hashem, in which case we free the sparks of godliness found within it, we elevate them, and by doing so, in a way we do fill the holes in our heart, because by doing so we create a much stronger connection to Hashem. Something to think about, and wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.